And good morning to the Cornbread Man Morning Show. I'm Dave the AM, your host here at the Cornbread Nation Studios, otherwise known as the Southern Fried Podcast, as well as the Cornbread Nation Studios. Welcome to this July 22nd, 5 a.m., or now 5:04 Eastern Standard Time. We appreciate you listening in from wherever you're listening in from. We thank you so much for your attendance. Been busy the last little bit. I know we didn't do some shows. We were at a festival recently and had been traveling to that and some other things. We should be back on track now. We've got some good news coming too. There'll be more opportunities to hear the Cornbread Man in the coming next couple of weeks. There's going to be much more activity on the MP3 side, as well as our video shows that we do throughout the week with the Southern Fried Cornbread Nation. If you want to be a follower of what we're doing and become known as what we call a breadhead, breadhead, and get our breadhead newsletter, just send your email, to our email, southernfriedpodcast@yahoo.com. We'll put you in there, and that's southernfriedpodcast@yahoo.com. We'll put your email in there. We won't overload you, but we'll give you insights and behind-the-scene things that are going on before the rest of the public hears about it. We appreciate those supporters. We want to take care of them. And so Cornbread Nation, breadheads of Cornbread Nation is very important. Well, in the news today, the president has kicked a reporter for the Wall Street Journal off of his flight to Scotland to visit golf courses and, of course, do some trade while he's there. Upset over last week's story that the Wall Street Journal covered about the Epstein story, which has continued to dominate the story. I know he wished it would go away, but, people are upset. They want to see the release of all the documents, everything they have, and pressure's being put on. It seems like maybe there'll be more that will be released. He's also not upset at what he calls a paper that's included in there that has a drawing upon it. We'll get to that in just a second. But he has also filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Journal and against its owner, Rupert Murdoch, on Friday, because according to this Newsmax article, the newspaper's article about him, about a sexually suggestive letter bearing Trump's name that was included in a 2003 album compiled for alleged sex trafficker Epstein's birthday, alleged because, of course, he died before he went to trial. The president has denied having anything to do with the note, which reportedly also included a salacious sketch. On Monday, the White House said it was removing a Journal reporter from the pool covering the president's trip this weekend to his golf courses in Turnberry and Aberdeen in Scotland. The Journal's Tarini Partee had been scheduled to cover him on the trip. Quote, due to the Wall Street Journal's fake and defamatory conduct, they will not be one of the 13 outlets on board, end quote, White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt said. The Journal declined comment on the action. The White House Correspondents Association called the decision, quote, deeply troubling, end quote. They go on to say, quote, this attempt by the White House to punish a media outlet whose coverage it does not like is deeply troubling, and it defies the First Amendment. Government retaliation against news outlets based on the content of their reporting should concern all who value free speech and an independent media. We strongly urge the White House to restore the Wall Street Journal to its previous position in the pool and aboard Air Force One for the president's upcoming trip to Scotland, end quote. WHCA President Weijia Jiang, CBS News senior White House correspondent, said in a statement. So from the very beginning, even from the first term, President has been very much aggressive towards certain outlets that he did not like their coverage or believe their coverage was, as he called it, fake media. So the ongoing war of words occurring, just as he has had with CBS and others. So as of right now, the Wall Street Journal's reporter is not going to be on Air Force One. So we'll see where that's a $10 billion lawsuit. Certainly nothing to sneeze at. While he is there in Scotland, though, with the Wall Street Journal will not be able to cover that, at least from the press pool that travels with the president. While he is there, he will talk trade with Starmer, who's the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and discuss trade ahead of an official state visit to Britain in September. This trip is from July 25th through the 29th, so just days away. And we'll see him visit Turnberry, home of a historic golf course and hotel he bought in 2014, and Aberdeen, where one of Trump's golf courses has operated since 2012. And a new one is set to open in August, the White House said Thursday. During the trip, Trump plans to meet with Starmer to, quote, refine, end quote, a previously announced trade deal, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said. And so we'll see what kind of, anytime the president travels overseas, there's always going to be an interesting new look at what's going on in foreign policy, what kinds of things they're talking about. He's pretty good at coming back with trade deals as well whenever he takes these trips. Additionally, he said that during the briefing, not him, during the briefing with reporters, Caroline Leavitt also said Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will travel to the United Kingdom from September 17th through the 19th and meet with King Charles. That trip had already been confirmed by Buckingham Palace and will mark Trump's second state visit to the United Kingdom after he first had one in 2019. No U.S. president had previously been invited for a second state visit. That's quite interesting there. Did not know that no U.S. president had previously been invited for a second state visit. Quote, he is honored and looking forward to meeting with His Majesty, the King, at Windsor Castle, end quote, Leavitt said. Of course, to be able to play golf in Scotland would be amazing in and of itself. But hopefully he can get some work done while he's there as well. Additionally, Trump has been given the okay on Monday. A federal judge lifted an order that had prevented the Trump administration from stripping temporary protected status for thousands of Afghans and Cameroonians in the United States. The Trump administration's moved in April to end TPS for Afghans and Cameroonians in the U.S., saying conditions in Afghanistan and Cameroon no longer merit the protected status. The move affected an estimated 14,600 Afghans and 7,900 Cameroonians. Immigration advocacy organization CASA filed a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit, and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit granted an administrative stay on the termination until July 21st. Obviously, that was yesterday. In Monday's ruling, the appeals panel agreed with a lower court that CASA had stated a plausible claim for relief with regard to the alleged preordained decision to terminate TPS. At this procedural posture, however, there is insufficient evidence to warrant the extraordinary remedy of a postponement of agency action pending appeal, end quote, the panel wrote. The Department of Homeland Security, which oversees the TPS program, did not immediately respond to the request for comment, so he is now free to move those out as well. Really quite interesting news, with all the talk of, and of course, going back to even before he was sworn in as president, they had said they would release documents related to several high-profile cases. Epstein only being one of those. One of the others was the assassination and investigation and whatever records they had on Martin Luther King Jr. The administration yesterday, this is astounding, released more than 240,000 pages of documents related to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., including records from the FBI, which had surveilled the civil rights leader, according to Newsmax's article here by the pool. course, Martin Luther King Jr. died of an assassin's bullet in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968, as he increasingly extended his attention from a nonviolent campaign for equal rights for African Americans to economic issues and calls for peace. His death shook the United States in a year that would also bring race riots, anti-Vietnam War demonstrations, and the assassination of presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy. Earlier this year, President Donald Trump's administration released thousands of pages of digital documents related to the assassinations of Robert Kennedy and former President John F. Kennedy, who was killed in 1963. Trump promised on the campaign trail to provide more transparency about Kennedy's death. Upon taking office, he also ordered aides to present a plan for the release of records relating to the assassinations of Robert Kennedy and King. The FBI kept files on King in the 50s and 60s, even wiretapping his phones because of what the Bureau said at the time were his suspected ties to communism during the Cold War between the U.S. and Soviet Union. In recent years, the FBI has acknowledged that was an example of abuse and overreach in its history. The civil rights leader's family asked those who engage with the files to do so with empathy, restraint, and respect for our family's continuing grief, and condemned any attempts to misuse these documents. Quote, now more than ever, we must honor his sacrifice by committing ourselves to the realization of his dream, a society rooted in compassion, unity, and equality, end quote, they said in a statement. Quote, during our father's lifetime, he was relentlessly targeted by an invasive, predatory, and deeply disturbing disinformation and surveillance campaign orchestrated by J. Edgar Hoover through the FBI, the family said, including his two living children, Martin III, 67, and Bernice, 62, said, referring to then FBI director. Of course, James Earl Ray was the segregationist who confessed to killing King, but later recanted. He died in prison in 1998. So this will continue. It'll be interesting to say. And I believe that I understand why they would say that, because when you get records like this, there could be records that are embarrassing. Now, I know there are Americans on all sides of this issue. But not only Americans, but people around the world. There's a volatile time, and men are not perfect, no matter how much greatness they display. And there could be, just as there's embarrassment for the agency, there could be things, since they were surveilling and they were able to hear things, pick up things, have pictures of things or whatever it may be. And right now I only know that it's documentation and not pictures and not audio of any kind, but pages. They could serve as embarrassment. You think about things that people do behind closed doors. This gives a glimpse into that life. So we'll see. But I've always said, release everything. It's been long enough. There should be no national security still needed in relation to these, and probably any of the documents related to any of these leaders, and including Epstein himself, who is obviously that could provide not embarrassment, but also criminal activities. That's why people want to see them and to cleanse the nation of the sin and of those around the world. Nobody is happy, it seems like. So it is continuing to oppress the president. And maybe this was timing, just surmising that maybe this is timing to soften that right now and get the news going another direction. Definitely administrations do that. Can't say that's what this is, but it is interesting. It happens at the very time that pressure is being applied, and a lot of pressure, and a lot of that by the president's base, who has said, we elected you to release these things. We want to see the truth. We can handle the truth, in effect, they are saying. Before we continue, let me say this program is brought to you by our sponsors and affiliates. Patriot Mobile. Make the switch today using promo code cornbread. Yes, we love to eat cornbread. Patriot Mobile is a great American first cell phone service provider, and also cell phones. They offer great prices, three major networks, tower systems that you can use. You can switch between them even to make sure you're always getting the best coverage. They have the best customer service. It's not farmed out to any foreign country. It is based right here in America, in Texas, and I have used them. They are a strong defender of the First and Second Amendment. They are pro-life, and they display their faith openly. Make the switch today. Patriot Mobile Cornbread. Also, W Energy Drinks. W Energy Drinks using promo code Southern Fried. Southern Fried. Get you some W today. The energy drinks that has no jitters, no crashes, and no sugar added. They're an exciting company which offers all kinds of new flavors. Are constantly giving deals all across all of their offerings, not just in energy drinks, but in shakers and merch items such as shirts. They are have a very popular artist designs, and people. They're a fun company. A lot of people like them, and they were the first one to come on board with the Southern Fried, and we certainly appreciate their support and are a consumer of all these products. We are members of Patriot Mobile. Have consumed many different kinds of flavors of W Energy drinks. Promo code Southern Fried, 10% off when you use that promo code. Podbean, which we're going live to right now, Podbean, you can get a month free. We do have a promo code. I have that in of course you can't see that right now, but you can email us and we'll be sure to get that into the chat here in the next show and get you that address so that you can also help the Southern Fried and get a month free and become a podcaster. Podbean is a great company, a great service, and it sends all of ours out to many other MP3 sites. Podbean. So appreciate these. Mammoth Nation. We also have a QR code for that. When you become a monthly supporter, you'll be helping the Southern Fried, and you'll be helping great America First companies who are based in America with American-made products and love America. Mammoth Nation. And yes, now we have our Southern Fried podcast coffees found in our Shopify store. And we are now have all these blends of coffees that can be shipped straight to you. If you're in the continental United States, the shipping is included in the price. No more having to worry what that looks going to look like after you get to your cart and start trying to pay. What you see on the screen is what you will pay. We are so excited to have it. I have had many of the blends. In fact, I have the house blend unopened. It smells so great. Sitting on my desk right now. The Southern Fried Coffees. Get you some today. And we have a new affiliate that has just came on, Payworld. Payworld. If you're in business, no matter the size, Payworld will help you with all those financial transfers that need to happen, subscriptions and chargebacks and all those things. Payworld. We also have a QR code for that. We'll get these into the chat for these shows. But Payworlds are new, so we may have some others that'll be coming on board. Our merch store is at Threadless, another address we'll get to you, where we have all sorts of logos. We're adding to them all the time. And our Southern Fried Racing Hour shirts and hats and different things, the logo is just very much liked, and they love our show, which should air this evening, by the way, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that's on tap for today's programming. So stay with the Southern Fried. We appreciate your support. All right, back to the news in the time we have left. Wanted to jump on one more. Hunter Biden gave two astounding interviews. One, mammoth marathon of 3 hours. And he had many things to say, which will be talked about for some time. I'm sure we'll cover those things tonight, I'm sure. But James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, he is also the House Oversight Committee chair, told Newsmax on Monday evening that Hunter Biden's assertion that his father, then President Joe Biden, took Ambien in 2024 did his congressional panel a favor That tidbit had never been disclosed before. Further, given that Ambien is a Schedule 4 controlled substance, Hunter Biden's admission gives more fuel to House Republicans' investigation of President Biden's auto pen use, he said. Comer joined Finnerty hours after an interview with Hunter Biden, an interview with Hunter Biden aired in which he blamed Ambien use for his father's horrible debate performance with Republican then presidential candidate Donald Trump in June 27, 2024. Quote, I appreciate the interview because what Hunter Biden said was Joe Biden was on a controlled substance, and that's what Ambien is. This has never been made public before. Oh, when your kids and your family goes around and opens their mouth, you know that Jill Biden her head has to be exploding at him going on and giving this news. Comer goes on to say, and this is an issue, was this a one-time instance where he took an Ambien, or was he a regular user of Ambien? Comer told host Rob Finnerty. Hunter Biden's interview came 1 year to the day after the elder Biden ended his 2024 re-election bid, and the debate from a few weeks earlier set the wheels in motion for him to bow out. Quote, I know exactly what happened in that debate, end quote, Hunter Biden said. Quote, he flew around the world. He's 81 years old. He's tired. They gave him Ambien to help be able to sleep, and he gets up on the stage and looks like a deer in the headlights, end quote. He added that, quote, there's no arguing that it was anything but an absolutely horrible debate, end quote. And Biden's annual physical report in February 2024 did not list Ambien among the 6 medicines he was taking. This could affect his decision making, and again, that's what this whole investigation is about, Comer said. Quote, we call it the auto pen investigation, but at the end of the day, it is about, did Joe Biden have the mental wherewithal to know what was being used in the auto pen to have his name signed on it? The fact that Joe Biden did an interview with the New York Times and said that and admitted that he didn't know who all these people were, that he gave pardons, end quote, Comer said. Biden, quote, delegated that to staff, end quote, he added, quote, and now with Hunter Biden saying his dad was on a very serious drug, then I think we've got even more evidence to suggest that Joe Biden had no idea what was going on in that White House, end quote. Hunter Biden throwing bombshells. The art deals have dried up, so now he opens his mouth and comes forward, and he slays his daddy with the words of admission. Now, it truly would have been even more so if he had said something in relation to the baggie that was found in the White House. Me and Pops, that would have been groundbreaking. But he didn't say that. We can sure talk about it. Oh my goodness, politics is never boring. We may get angry, we may laugh, we may cry, we may whatever, but it is never boring. The politics around the world, but especially here in the United States of America. Isn't it funny that in most cases presidents have siblings, brothers, whatever, that are embarrassment to them? Remember Jimmy Carter's brother? Oh my goodness. There's always somebody connected somehow that becomes the embarrassment, opens her mouth at the most inopportune times, and says things that makes the administration cringe. And even though that Joe's out of office, there's all this controversy going on. And trying to defend his dad, he slays his dad. Hunter Biden, you, sir, have continued to show why you cannot be the favored son. You are, sir, the black sheep of the family. And not to mention little Navy, that poor little girl. Go be, take on the role of dad there. Get off the air, get a job, take care of your family, see your daughter, take care of Pops. Oh my goodness, he could be a regular feature. It would be must see TV just to see what would roll out of his mouth. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord, one more here this morning before we go. Now we'll be back on at 6 a.m. on the video side. We might bring up the MP3 side live. We'll see if we can do that. And I wanted to go down and the Israeli military is striking Houthi targets. The Houthis, they were making noise, then they quieted down after bombings. Then they made threats again, throwing bombs towards American military assets and others, threatening international shipping from the region. According to Newsmax, on Monday, the Israeli military attacked Houthi targets in Yemen's Hodeidah port. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said in a statement on Monday. Katz said the army is, quote, forcefully countering any attempt to restore the terror infrastructure previously attacked, end quote. Since Israel's war in Gaza against the Palestinian military group Hamas began in October 2023, the Iran-aligned Houthis have been attacking vessels in the Red Sea in what they say are acts of solidarity with the Palestinians. Israel has responded by launching attacks on Houthis who control the most populous part of Yemen, including the vital Hodeidah port. As I've made clear, Yemen's fate is the same as Tehran's. The Houthis will pay a heavy price for launching missiles toward the state of Israel, Katz said. And with that, the Cornbread Morning Show. I'm still tickled by Hunter Biden. The Cornbread Man Morning Show. I'd just like to hear stories of Hunter Biden and Corn Pop together as well. We'll be nice and move on. Hey, that's your show this morning. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the Cornbread Man Morning Show. Promise to be here unless the world ends. We'll be here. And join us at 6 a.m. on these stations and many others. You'll see the video side of the podcast as well. I'm Dave the AM, and we'll see you again.
Why does it hurt?